15 times royals were accused of favoritism or nepotism. Favoritism and nepotism are tricky territories for anyone in a position of power or privilege, but especially so for royal families who must balance personal relationships with obligations to the public. Throughout history, royals have faced accusations of unfair bias in appointments, business deals, relationships, and more. In this video, we'll look at 15 notable cases where members of royal families, especially the British royals, faced controversies related to suspected favoritism or nepotism. Number 1. King Edward VII's favoritism towards his circle. King Edward VII relied heavily on a small, privileged inner circle of friends and confidants during his reign. His companions consisted of prominent military officials, politicians, and wealthy men from aristocratic backgrounds. The most notorious was Ernest Cassel, a successful German Jewish banker who became exceptionally close to Edward. The king granted Cassel an Order of the Bath and Order of Merit, while Cassel assisted in negotiating Edward's family affairs. Another confidant, Wilhelm II, regularly visited Edward despite rising tensions between Germany and Britain preceding World War I. Edward's willingness to appoint his friends to high offices led to accusations of cronyism. For example, he made his equerry Frederick Ponsonby the private secretary of his son Prince George. The perception was that proximity and personal ties to the king, not merit, resulted in prestigious and influential posts. This damaged Edward's reputation despite his generally successful reign. While monarchs frequently lean on inner circles, Edward's alleged favoritism appeared to override sound judgment, undermining faith in his leadership. Number 2. Queen Victoria and John Brown. Queen Victoria's intimate relationship with her Scottish servant John Brown provoked intense speculation during her reign. After Prince Albert's death, Victoria became deeply reliant on Brown, who assumed an unprecedented level of influence and favor as a servant. Brown was brash and informal towards the Queen in public, yet she tolerated his behavior. She bestowed gifts of property in Scotland along with a noble title, raising suspicions of improper favor. Rumors swirled that their relationship was romantic, although no conclusive evidence has confirmed this. However, their unusual closeness, along with her extended seclusion after Albert's death, scandalized the public image of the normally reserved queen. Accounts of Brown's service, like the film Mrs. Brown, suggest an emotionally vulnerable Victoria found solace in an unconventional bond with an employee below her station. While the exact nature of their relationship remains ambiguous, perceptions of Victoria's favoritism towards a servant comprised her regal status. Number 3. King Charles and his inner circle. Due to his long tenure as heir apparent, King Charles has developed close relationships with aides who exert significant influence over his affairs. This includes former valet Michael Fawcett, who resigned in 2021 over cash for honors allegations. Their 40-year friendship led to unchecked power and eyebrow-raising perks like free housing and lavish gifts. Similarly, some criticize Lord Tryon's appointment to oversee the king's foundation despite minimal professional experience. Charles prefers to surround himself with longtime loyalists running day-to-day activities without oversight. This has led to enabling behaviors and insularity. For example, the cash for access scandal in 2018 revealed Charles' willingness to offer meetings and dinners in exchange for large donations. Reliance on handlers like Fawcett opened Charles to cronyism accusations and abuse of resources. As king, Charles needs to dispel impressions of an inner circle securing inappropriate benefits through his favoritism. More judicious management of these relationships and transparency in operations will be crucial. Number 4. Prince Andrew's business connections. As a trade envoy for Britain, Prince Andrew forged ties with multiple unsavory international figures, which later provoked controversy. His friendship with Gaddafi's son-in-law raised concerns about negotiating arms deals with Libyan dictatorships. Similar shady connections like Kazakh billionaire Cengiz Rakishev caused some to speculate Andrew exploited his position to benefit associates' business interests. Andrew's lack of judgment in these relationships drew fire after his disastrous 2019 BBC interview trying to explain his link to Jeffrey Epstein. His unapologetic defense of continuing to visit Epstein after the initial conviction made Andrew appear oblivious to impropriety. Combined with the impression Andrew granted special business access to Epstein as a friend, this intensified perceptions of a murky conflict of interest and ethical blind spot. While concrete wrongdoing was never proven, Andrew's pattern of fraternizing with wealthy associates gave the appearance of favors in exchange for financial opportunities. His recent settlement of the Virginia Giuffre lawsuit adds further damage. Number 5. Prince William, Princess Catherine, and their circle. As they take on more senior royal duties, Prince William and Princess Catherine have built up their household staff. But certain appointments, like Princess Catherine's old school friend Hannah Coburn as an assistant and former party planner Jamie Lowther Pinkerton as private secretary, raised charges of favoritism over more qualified professionals. Prince William's past university pal Oliver Baker's role as an usher for royal tours also sparked criticisms after old photos of Baker's drug use surfaced, hardly appropriate for prestigious royal service. On Princess Catherine's side, her sister Pippa and brother James have been given writing gigs and favorable media coverage unusual for untitled siblings. Such nepotism or biased staffing alienates those who work their way up through proper qualifications. While the Cambridges rely on trusted insiders like most royals, diversifying their inner circle with less old money cronyism could counter the perception they unduly favor familiar friends and family. Number 6. Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and postRoyal business deals. Since stepping back as senior royals, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex attracted skepticism over their lucrative partnerships with companies like Netflix, Spotify, and coaching startup BetterUp. Critics allege the couple are exploiting royal access for massive undeserved paydays, despite limited entertainment production experience. Defenders note their global fame yields commercial demand regardless. Speculation abounded after Harry and Meghan visited Spotify executives shortly before finalizing a reported $25 million deal. Some claim the couple peddled past royalty to secure favors and capitalize on fame. However, conclusive impropriety remains unproven. The deals do encapsulate the ethical tightrope of parlaying royal brand power while avoiding outright unethical influence. As non-working royals start careers, deliberative distance from outright favors will help mitigate ongoing suspicions. Number 7. Sarah Ferguson's business ventures. Sarah Ferguson's continually faced criticism of profiting from her royal connections long after her 1996 divorce from Prince Andrew. Tabloids disparaged the Duchess as a peddler of access and influence. Her 2010 tabloid sting offering Andrew meetings for cash cemented perceptions of unethical monetization. Ferguson's children's book deals and promotion of Weight Watchers drew accusations of trading on royal prestige for massive undeserved paychecks. Even her 2018 attendance at Princess Eugenie's wedding provoked backlash as enjoying unwarranted privileges. Though her ventures are legal, the optics undermine respect for the dignity of her former status. Ferguson's persistence in leveraging any lingering royalties for commercial gain, no matter how tangential, fuels ongoing nepotism accusations and damage to the monarchy's image. Number 8. Queen Elizabeth II's favoritism in honors. The Queen had sole discretion over conferring honors and titles on advice from the government. However, rare instances caused charges of bias. Her apparent preference for conservatives in honors lists led to complaints that she facilitates partisan cronyism. Within the royal family, some noted figures like Princess Anne's lack of a damehood compared to less senior royals like Prince Edward's wife Sophie getting higher honors as possible favoritism. Even non-royals like Angela Kelly receiving unprecedented honors as a mere servant provoked accusations of improper deference towards a favorite staffer. While no evidence of unethical conduct, rumors of bias undermined the Queen's scrupulous constitutional impartiality. Number 9. Prince Philip's alleged favoritism in military appointments. Prince Philip's long tenure in the military inevitably gave him influence in armed forces appointments. This led to periodic charges he wielded this sway for preferential treatment or nepotism. For example, in 1995, he allegedly favored Admiral Sir Peter Abbott for appointment as First Sea Lord, despite more qualified candidates. Biographer Sarah Bradford claimed Philip blatantly engaged in nepotism throughout his career to advance fellow naval officers aligned with his connections. While concrete evidence of misconduct is lacking, Philip's willingness to leverage an advisory military role for perceived cronyism risked not just controversy, but also promoting unmerited candidates over more deserving professionals. Given the sensitivity of defense appointments, even rumors of favoritism can corrode confidence in the objectivity of military oversight. Number 10. King Charles and the Duchy of Cornwall. King Charles controls a vast real estate and financial estate that generates his primary income. Critics have accused him of exploiting Duchy connections for his allies' benefit, including controversially selling property to a close friend at below-market rates. A 2005 investigation exposed shady dealings but cleared Charles of personal impropriety. However, the extensive insider relationships between Charles' advisors and Duchy council members continue to raise eyebrows. His preference to conduct deals through these hand-picked, trusted contacts fosters accusations that Charles facilitates cronyism. As king, his expanded influence over the duchy and its multi-million-pound annual surplus will draw even heavier scrutiny over any perceptions of self-serving favoritism in transactions. Number 11. King George VI alleged favoritism towards Winston Churchill. The strong bond between King George VI and Prime Minister Winston Churchill during World War II raised questions about the monarch overstepping constitutional boundaries. Their weekly meetings to discuss war strategy cultivated a close working relationship. However, some historians argue George grew too reliant on Churchill's counsel, compromising his obligation to remain politically neutral. Records show George deferring heavily to Churchill's judgment over crucial policies like wartime negotiations and strategy. This led to accusations that George abdicated thoughtful oversight of his prime minister's actions, essentially giving Churchill free rein. The perception was that the king's trust in Churchill led to an unspoken favoritism that undermined the crown's check on potential executive overreach. While George arguably favored Churchill, he maintained enough distance to avoid serious damage to the crown. Number 12. Royal patronages and charities. The royal family's extensive charitable work provides valuable publicity and resources for causes they support as patrons or figureheads. However, accusations of favoritism emerge when royals use their platform to promote organizations contrary to public interest or scientific consensus. King Charles faced backlash after advocating homeopathic remedies, despite mainstream medicine rejecting these alternative therapies. Even Prince William and Princess Catherine have been criticized for focusing mental health initiatives on relatively safe issues like bullying and body image instead of tackling more politically sensitive reforms. As senior royals, their careful vetting of which organizations and issues to champion will help uphold rigorous standards against perceptions of undeserved favoritism. Number 13. Royal household staff appointments. Appointing household staff requires balancing professional qualifications with the royals' comfort level, inevitably navigating a web of class backgrounds, family ties, and personal connections. Controversies erupt periodically, as when the Queen made dressmaker Angela Kelly her first ever personal assistant from a non-aristocratic background. Traditionalists bristled at Kelly's elevation and access, flouting the unspoken custom of appointments from noble classes. Such upstairs-downstairs tensions breeds rumors of backdoor cronyism, securing inappropriate influence, even when selections are meritorious. Greater transparency and merit-based hiring are necessary to combat residual perceptions that royal staff mirrors insider privilege rather than overall capability. Number 14. King Juan Carlos of Spain's business dealings. Former King Juan Carlos I of Spain faced explosive allegations of exploiting his position for personal enrichment on an unprecedented scale for a modern European monarch. Investigations exposed Juan Carlos soliciting over $100 million in bribes from Saudi royals seeking lucrative contracts, while maneuvering vast sums into offshore accounts, lacking transparency. Additional deals funneled money from autocracies like Azerbaijan into opaque foundations benefiting the former king and his cronies. Juan Carlos is estimated to have amassed over $2 billion in funds by leveraging his influence as monarch. The brazen corruption and ethical breaches not only damaged Spain's reputation, but also necessitated the former king's abdication and exile to contain the scandal. His son Philippe faces extensive work rebuilding public trust after such egregious abuse by Juan Carlos. Number 15. Middle Eastern royal families. Nepotism charges have long plagued Middle Eastern monarchies where privileged royal family members receive preferential appointments and contracts. Experts estimate over 50% of Saudi ministers belong to the House of Saud royal lineage, with senior portfolios like defense and interior reserved for senior princes. The Saudi National Guard remains under a dedicated royal prince's control. Major sectors like oil and media see high-level hiring dominated by the Saud family over qualified non-royals. Similar dynamics occur in Gulf states like Kuwait, Qatar, and the UAE. Rulers stack key positions with relatives regardless of credentials. Lucrative deals and investments selectively enrich those tied to royal bloodlines. Laws compelling businesses to reserve ownership shares for royals further concentrate economic benefits among an exclusive circle. While hardly unique to the region, such entrenched nepotism earns criticism as promoting systemic inequality and stifling meritocracy. And that's our look at 15 notable cases where royal families faced controversies related to perceived favoritism or nepotism. From British monarchs granting titles to close friends, to Juan Carlos I's shocking corruption scandal in Spain, these examples reflect the fine line royals must walk between personal relationships and public obligations. Are there any other examples of royal family favoritism you would add? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video exploring accusations of royal family favoritism and nepotism, please like and share. And don't forget to subscribe for future videos. Thanks for watching. Until next time, bye!